Hey everyone, welcome back. Not really. No, I'm trying some whiskey to see if it can help with my voice. I don't know if anyone's been following what happened in the Discord today. It's been a bit of an adventure, but I managed to get a bit of a nap in, help my voice heal quite a bit. So I figured, hell, I'll try a late night stream. Alright, so to begin the adventure, let's do the tavern task. We got to get that done right away because it's time sensitive. Alright, I'm going to be fishing for purples, and as you can see, I've blown through quite a bit of jewels. Holy fuck, we got a whole bunch of people here already. Kaminsky, Kim Jong Midway, Marco. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining the chat. Holy shit, that was quick. Now, we had another epic windstorm today, and I got myself involved in a huge fucking project, and God, if we didn't get 99% of the project complete, and then the fucking project turned into a disaster. So I was like 1% away. It's kind of like when you format your computer, and it gets to 99%, and then it goes blue screen to death. It was kind of like that. Let's give this a refresh. But no one got hurt, so that's how I try to look at it. Like, I was facing almost falling off a 2-story building, so really, since that didn't happen, I should be happy. We just destroyed a greenhouse. Oh, what an adventure. Yeah, if it's not for disasters, wouldn't make good situations seem that much better, right? Dear God. Now, I figure if all else fails too, I could try sign language, but my voice is already recovered substantially. No, it got so squeaky that I sound like the kid's voice from the sponsor message, just talking normally. So that was pretty fucked. And not in a good way. Oh, there we go. Where are we going? Westward, ho. Yes, we got some more purples. I was thinking it's a strong possibility, I shouldn't jinx it, that we might finish the tavern mission in time. Depending. If I get destroyed in any more greenhouse accidents. No, it's funny, I was trying to measure how many of the jewels I was going to blow through. I wanted to try not going less than 7,000. So I'm pretty sure, I'm not pretty sure, there's a slim chance that I'll make it. Come on. Just when I said the 7,000 thing, I shouldn't have fucking jinxed it. There's one. No, really, we're almost there. Like, God, famous last words. Ah, thanks, Pepe the Frog, yeah. No, I was wondering where Pierre was. I hadn't seen him in ages. I figured maybe the time zone thing was the issue. Oh, there we go. 2 fucking purples. Fucking A. Alright, let's get this done. Now, I was hoping your knee's good. I was trying to remember who it was that hurt their knee. And if it wasn't you, sorry, I got mixed up. No, we had so many of the viewers getting hurt and in the hospital. I was like, holy fuck. Come on, guys. You got to stop taking my advice here. There'll be no one left to watch the show. Oh, God. All right, so we got 5 done. Yes. Well, not done. Started. And we're at 7,000. For fuck's sakes, man. We blew through a lot of jewels. Yeah, let's check. Who is it? Kim Jong Midway is asking. Let's check it. Well, let's get a battle going while I check, so we get some action on the screen while I talk. Let's go with the dungeon battle, because damn, we got close to beating it last time. Better claim it first. Yeah, this pattern worked pretty good last time. Let's try that again. Oh yeah, congratulations. If you're graduating in May, that's fucking epic. Yeah, so which graduation would it be for you? High school then, right? I don't know. I think each country does school differently for grades and stuff. In Canada, we do one school called elementary school, and it's from junior kindergarten all the way up to grade 8. And then we have another school called high school, so we don't really have middle school here in Canada. And then in high school, it's grades 9 all the way up to 14. But they call grade 13. And then they call that OAC in some parts. So it's usually grades 9 through 12, and then you can stay an extra year for OAC. And then in Canada after that, then you can go to college and university. Some people will skip the OAC year and just go right to college and university if they're in a rush. Yeah. Yeah, middle school doesn't exist for you either. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. When I heard middle school in the USA, I was like, man, that's really weird. It's like an extra grade that we don't have. Or a whole nother school we don't have. It kind of does make sense. I don't know. Maybe. Alright, so yeah, let's check what the viewers are saying here. What is my channel at? Oh fuck, we dropped below 1,000. Yeah, so I was gonna say I was gonna send the application through, but I was like, I better not, because there's still a chance I'm just gonna drop below 1,000. I really can't send it in until I reach like 1,010 or 1,020, because usually my subscribers fluctuate up and down up to like 20 or 30 a week. So yeah, fuck man, we were above 1,000 for a good week solid there. Or almost a week solid. I was tempted to send it in. I was like, fuck, better not. No, so if anyone wants to be the 1,000th subscriber, again, we're going for like the 5 or 6th time we're reaching 1,000 subs. Now I was thinking it really didn't count yet, because what happens is when you reach 1,000, YouTube will send you a congratulations message. And they never sent me that one yet. They've only sent me the 500 congratulations. So I figured they were still going through it, trying to apply or approve each person in that list, make sure there wasn't too much spam. They must be getting more strict with the spam accounts, because yeah, they seem to go through mine quite a bit looking for spam. No, I better not make too many alternative accounts. As tempting as it is, YouTube will just delete it later. It's kind of like a tease. When they go to the strip club and the girls tease you, it's not really for real. Alright. Not that I know anything about that. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, let's send Suki some regular flowers. She's only be here once a week, which makes sense. I'm almost thinking one day I gotta start slowing down on the game too. Don't want to keep playing it to death. But we'll keep doing that for now. Alright, Cinder's been gone for a while, so she'll get the regular ones. Who else is there? Oh yeah, Shelly. Let's give Shelly some big flowers. And I was gonna hook up potato memes with some, but yeah, he's still not back yet. So hopefully his recovery in the hospital is going well too. Alright, let's send some more. I hope no one's making up these injuries. I don't think they are. I know potato meme sounded very serious, so I don't think his was made up. If it was, it's a horrible joke. Alright, so let's see. Well, I think someone said they were going to send a friend application, but it never came through. They must have started to hear me talk more. Or they got a hold of my Facebook. They're like, dear God, this guy's a maniac. Now, I tried to tone down my Facebook a little bit. Some people must be aghast. What was it like before? Alright, novice pass. Let's see. Let's collect some shit. Come on, jewels. That's what we need. We need the purple jewels. We ain't getting shit. Alright, we'll have to get some battles in, man. I want to do some shots of whiskey here. Too much talking and gameplay. Oh, there's my phone. I haven't had it charged for a while. Hoping I didn't fuck the battery, because I had it dead for quite a while. Now, I think a hot babe called me on my cell phone today, but first thing she said was, wrong number. It's like, damn! There goes my chance, right out the window! Anyone ever turn a wrong number call into a date? I almost did that once. It was pretty funny. Now what happened was I was at my friend's house, and this was back in the days like I was a teenager when everyone still had landline phones and no one had cell phones yet. So normally when you called someone, you had to go through this like interrogation with different people that would answer the phone. And depending who you were calling, sometimes you'd like call someone who had a bunch of roommates or something, and obviously people would screw around. Look how many fucking clones I have here. Holy shit, 350. Can't hardly wait till that new event starts. So anyways, what happened was, yeah, people would call randomly, or you would call trying to get a hold of someone, and you'd have to talk to random people and ask if they could pass the phone to the person that you wanted to talk to. So what happened was I was at my friend's house, and he couldn't answer the phone on time. Or no, what was it? Yeah, I think it was either I was calling or they were calling. I can't even remember which direction the phone was calling. But anyways, I ended up on the phone. And then the person talking was like a hot chick. And I'm like talking to her. I'm like, no, sorry, this is the wrong number. And she's like, no, stop joking. Just pass the phone to the other person. And I was like, no, I'm serious. This is the wrong number, right? Like, there's no one here in the house by that name. So I'm not joking, really. So then the girl just kept arguing with me on the phone. She said that she could recognize my voice and that I was joking. And I was like, okay. So we ended up arguing for like half an hour. And eventually it almost turned into a date. But then I was like, man, this is kind of weird. And I had a girlfriend at the time. Isn't that how it always works, too? I was like, fuck, man. If I was single, this would have never happened. No, so that's one of the things I miss before cell phones were invented. It's like, back in my day, we used to buy drugs from gangs. Now we can just get weed from the government. Yeah, a girl called your house and thought you were the restaurant. Yeah, the Asian hate crime's really happening. It's like, I don't know, like, in my area, it seems so weird because, like, yeah, crimes happen in the community, and sometimes it's against Asian people, but I'm surprised that anyone would actually think that it's racist, especially in Canada. It'd be like, what the fuck, man? Everyone in this country is multicultural. Who the hell is going to be racist? Well, I think the whole virus thing, but I was like, how many people really believe the virus even came from China? Like 1% of people, maybe? Like, it's a pretty slim, like, raging conspiracy group community, right? I don't think the whole country is overrun by raging conspiracy theorists. Well, some days I wonder that when I listen to Alex's Jones show or something, but no, I don't really think that many people are that serious. All right, we got the victory. Yeah, so I'm really hoping that if these crimes are occurring for racism reasons, that they stop, or just in general that they would stop. Doesn't really matter the reason. But yeah, that's fucked up. I can't believe in Canada of all places. Like, I could see in other countries where you like might not be used to migration or something, but like we've pretty much lived with Chinese people for hundreds of years here. Right? It's not like we're all of a sudden going to be racist against the people we live next door to. That'd be fucked up. I sure hope it doesn't come to that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Canada's got this big conspiracy going now where we might have been the ones that worked with China to create the virus. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's a raging conspiracy. I don't believe that if YouTube's listening. But yeah, so I don't know. And it was funny too because the lab where everyone's suspecting that Canada played a role in it, or one of the ones, happened to be where one of my, someone I know had to go to get the procedure, like the needle. I guess you're allowed to say vaccinate. I should probably not say that on my channel. But anyways, yeah, so where they went to get it was the lab where apparently it might have been developed. Well, I shouldn't say developed. Maybe they did it by accident, right? Like, who knows? Maybe it really did happen in a lab with Canada's help, but could still have happened by accident. I really doubt anyone would release something on purpose. Not to mention, how would they avoid catching it themselves? That's the one thing, like, I never believe about someone releasing viruses into the public, because then there would be a chance that the person who released it could catch it. It's like, would you really release it if you could catch it? Especially if it's super deadly. It's like, man, maybe I better not release this. Right? I don't want to be dying. Unless you already had the cure to it, and then that would be the only way. Because then if you already had the cure, then you could release it, because you'd be like, oh, it doesn't matter if I catch it, because I already have the cure. But if you didn't have the cure, then you'd be like, what the fuck, how could you release it? Yeah, I felt bad for the vegan community, really bad actually, during the whole world situation. Because I know a lot of the vegan community that ended up getting sick got hit really bad, but I know one of my favorite hockey players, George Laraque, he's like a prominent vegan. He had a lot of injuries, I think, too. But anyways, yeah, so he got it, and he got hit with the virus bad. But he survived, I think, but he was definitely in the hospital for a while. Now, I know a lot of people that aren't vegan that ended up in the hospital for a long time, too, so it could be just a coincidence. What does they say? Causation isn't always the correlation. Yeah, correlation isn't always causation. Finally, I've been trying to say that for months now. Got the closest to it saying it yet. See, don't give up. Just fuck up saying the same word over and over again for months. You'll get it. Just never give up. Alright, so a shot of whiskey to help talk. Now, the vegan community has started making new laws about what you can do with male chickens. Like roosters, I guess I should call them, not chickens. Now, I noticed that because my grandfather, our whole family, we were chicken farmers also. So I have a history of like growing up on a chicken farm to a certain degree. I was the grandkid, so I didn't actually live on the farm, but I would just go and stay there and visit all the time. Yeah, so what happens is, I'm not sure how exactly the process works. I only saw the end of the process. But in the beginning of the process, something like you must get a variety of chickens, and they separate the males and the females, right? Because you don't want the chickens and the roosters together when you're harvesting eggs, obviously, right? So what happens is they have to get rid of the male chickens. So, yeah, I don't know. In some cases, like, you know, most people you hear, you don't eat roosters, right? Like, you don't go to a restaurant, you don't order roosters. Normally, you can only order chicken. But what our family used to do is we also ate the roosters, and our family would just butcher them ourselves. So I got to see the whole butchering process. So that's what I learned very young, that vegans are right in a way, that animal cruelty is super brutal. But I also learned too that it's like part of like the process of life, right? Like animals are eating each other all the time. It's fucking brutal, right? There's nothing happy and nice about it. The only thing that we've really turned it happy and nice is you can go to a store and buy it, so you don't have to actually ever see butchering. But I think really in schools, they should take everyone just to see butchering and then show the difference about what happens if you didn't butcher. Like if everyone fucking starved. So you kind of get the idea that, yeah, butchering fucking sucks, but we're doing it for a fucking reason, because life's a fucking bitch, right? Life isn't some fairy tale where everything's happy and nice all the time. It's a lot of fucking brutal shit going on. Cheers, everyone. If anyone's wondering what kind of whiskey I'm drinking today, it's Crown Royal, the Canadian Deluxe. Apparently this kind was really hard to come by for a while, but it's back. Now I really admire the vegan goals too of trying to save animals, because like really when I see animals get slaughtered, it's like holy fuck, man, I wish there was any other way we could do this, right? Now, I'm surprised that some people get to the point where butchering animals doesn't bother them. I think my grandfather, even to the point where he was butchering his whole life, it was still bothering him. So I was like, yeah, some people are like ruthless like that, right? But I don't know. I couldn't do it. That's why I thank God for butchers. It's like I think we should have a day for butchers where everyone thanks the butchers for fucking all the killing they have to do. It's fucking brutal. Yeah, I used to always admire vegans to the point when I was a teenager. I always wanted to be vegan, but that was back when I couldn't afford to buy my own food. So I was like, fuck it, man. I can't really choose what I want to eat. Maybe one day I can be vegan. And then as I got older, I started to see people that actually could afford to go vegan and what happened to their health. And like they say, causation or correlation isn't always causation. Could be some other factors at play, but man, I've seen a lot of vegan people get hurt bad in health, so I was like, shit. What didn't turn out to be the magic beans to granted immortality like the YouTubers were claiming, right? Hey, top shelf. Yeah, it's brutal. Thanks for the killing day. Can you imagine how fucked our society is, right? Like we've turned everything into some fairy tale that's good all the time. To even consider the idea of thanking butchers would be like, here's our fucking heretics, right? It's like, what? You thank the butcher for killing? You animal! Oh God. Yeah, so if anyone wants to hear the full greenhouse story, I guess I should say it. I think I've drank enough shots of whiskey that I can tell it without getting super pissed. Yeah, so what happened is it was a hurricane for the whole week. Like every day the greenhouse is just getting destroyed worse and worse and worse. It's bending the frame to shit. All the panels are ripping out at night. It's just clanging and clanging on the balcony so that we couldn't sleep. All you could hear is the fucking greenhouse smashing in the wind. So I'm like, man, I can't wait for the fucking wind to end. I just got to take the greenhouse down today and get it to the second story, like down like a balcony without breaking it. I was like, how the hell am I going to do this in a fucking like hurricane, right? So first step, what I did is I disassembled the whole roof of the greenhouse. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Take the roof off and take all the panels out, so that it's no longer like a giant kite. So it'd just be the frame. So I'm thinking, dear God, if I have just the frame, then the wind shouldn't carry it, and I can lower each part one at a time with a rope. And I'm only one person, so I gotta like lift it over the railing, lower it down, all by myself. So surprisingly, the whole process went amazing. I got the roof off, took like half the day, lowered it down, didn't scratch or break anything. It was like perfect. Roof went great. Then I got to the greenhouse. I'm like, holy fuck, the greenhouse is like 10 times the size of the roof. I'm like, this is not going to go well. I'll just hope for the best. And I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. So I fucking put it over the railing, lowered it down by the rope, and the wind all stopped just in time, and the greenhouse made it down perfectly. I couldn't believe it. I landed it, it didn't scratch, everything mint and intact. So I was like, holy fuck, great success. So then I run downstairs to the second floor, and I start carrying the greenhouse to the backyard, and there's a table in the way. So my roommate comes running out, and she's like, hey, don't lift it over the table, just let me run inside, get my boots, and then I'll fucking come out and help lift it over the table. So I'm like, all right, the wind stopped, we gotta hurry, but if you're gonna just run in and get boots, okay, I'll wait. And the funny part is, the greenhouse wasn't even heavy. I could easily lift it over the table. So right there I was thinking, oh fuck, I took a job that was already easy and made it more complicated. So there was my first mistake. So the second mistake was I started waiting for my roommate, and she didn't come back for like 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, dear God, I've been working on this the whole day. I'm waiting to lift it over the fucking table here, and there's a fucking hurricane in the process, and there's just a break in the wind. So for some stupid reason, instead of lifting it over the table, I kept going with her idea, and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna put the greenhouse, leave it for a second, go get the table, move it, come back at the greenhouse and go. It's only like 2 steps away. So what's the worst that could happen? Famous last words. So at this point, I really only have like 2 steps. The job is 99% complete. I've already completed taking the whole thing down, the whole treacherous process of propelling it off a fucking balcony, and made it down without a scratch. Only had to move it 2 more steps. Yeah, so what happened was I let go of the greenhouse, moved the table, moved a chair, turned around, and a gust of wind picked up the greenhouse and flew it out of the driveway and smashed it right into my neighbor's brand new car. It just crushed the greenhouse into like a million pieces and just smashed the whole shit out of their new car. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. 2 steps away. Oh, welcome back. Yeah, so not only did like my $4,000 greenhouse get smashed, but I fucking like I thought I damaged the car really badly. Here's the weirdest part of the story. So when the greenhouse smashed on the car, it like literally bent around the car, like folded around it. So I was like, holy fuck, man, the car damage is going to be brutal. So I just quickly as I could grabbed the greenhouse, pulled it away from the car. I was like, get the fuck away from the car, you stupid greenhouse, right? I was like ready to take it, throw it at that point. So then I just grabbed it and dragged it into the backyard, and I didn't even look at the car. So then I was like, oh fuck, I told my roommate, hey, you're gonna have to go tell the neighbor that we just smashed up their car. And what took so long to go get your boots? Like the boots were literally like 2 seconds away from where we were just carrying the greenhouse. How did you go inside and then just vanish for 20 minutes? I should have just fucking ignored my roommate and carried the fucking greenhouse all myself. Why I did 99% of it perfectly, and then I waited for help, and then the help totally fucked it. So that's what I was thinking. My roommate, I got really mad and was yelling that I shouldn't have, because really she only had the best intentions. That's where you really got to beware of good intentions, right? Like some people think they're doing the best thing to help you, but in the end it turns out that their help is actually way worse than if you would have just not helped at all, or tried to help at all. It's what they say, the good intentions pave the road to hell. That's why every time I hear someone talk and they tell me they have good intentions, I'm like, oh dear God, watch out. It's like, you think that'll help me, do you? Yeah, that's amazing. My throat hurts so bad from yelling today that just drinking whiskey, I don't even taste it. It's like my throat actually enjoys the burning. It's like, it's easing the pain. So in retrospect, just crashing or destroying a $1,000 greenhouse, or I'll have to look how much I paid. I think it was anywhere between 2,000 and 4,000, somewhere in between there. And smashing. Oh yeah, that was the thing. And when my roommate and the neighbor checked the car, I don't know if they have like a scratch-resistant paint or what it is, but somehow there wasn't a scratch on the car. So I was like, how is that even fucking possible? Like a giant fucking metal greenhouse. I'm talking like at least 100 pounds. And it fucking flew through the air, smashed on their fucking car, and even bent around it. I was like, how the hell did that not scratch the car? I was like, that was nothing short of a fucking miracle. So I don't know, maybe my neighbor's just being nice. I'm gonna have to go out there and look and make sure that they're not just exaggerating, trying to, because I was yelling a lot, so maybe they were kind of just trying to ease the fucking yelling. Nah, I shouldn't have lost my temper so much. Really, I should have been happy that no one got hurt, no one fell off the balcony, and I should have been impressed. I got 99% of the hardest parts of the job all done, all on my own. So really, I did do a good job up until the very end. To that last step of disaster. I was thinking too, like where I had the greenhouse set, there's really any direction it could have blown, it would have been fine, except for one, towards the car. That just happens to be where it blew. It's like a whole 360 degrees. And what are the odds that the wind was pointing right in the direction to take it towards the car? And what are the odds the car is brand new, too? And it's like a luxury vehicle. I swear the car that it hit is like worth as much as a house. So I was like, holy fuck. This is not good. Alright, so let's skip a few more of these battles. Oh, we'll do one more shot. I better slow down on drinking this whiskey, because man, this bottle ain't gonna last long. Oh fuck. Spilt a drip. You know you're drinking too fast when you get spillage. Excuse me. I swear it's not my fault. It was the booze. It's all the booze. Now, I was thinking, I was watching some of those anti-Asian hate rallies in different parts of the world, and I was thinking, like, is that happening, like, in Japan and stuff? It's like, because I know, like, Japan and China used to fight a lot in the past, so is, like, there anti-Chinese sentiment going on in Japan? Or is that, like, non-existent now, too? Or who was it? No, I was thinking Philippines and Japan used to fight a lot too, wasn't it? World War II. Yeah, video game characters. When I was a kid, I used to have the hots for cartoon characters. It's like I don't even think I had my first Playboy magazine until I was already a teenager. Sometimes I stole some from my dad and shit, but that was about it. Not actually having my own. Yeah, it's I kind of feel sorry for the younger generations. In a way, kids are forced to grow up too young. Maybe it doesn't really matter, but it seems weird to me. Because like when I was younger, it's like I didn't even see my first like, I don't know, triple X-rated movie until I was already probably a teenager at least. Maybe even close to like 16, 17. I don't think the way the internet works that's too common anymore. But who knows? Now, the vegan movement is kind of wild. I was watching some new information about how they're trying to make synthetic meat and trying to switch over everyone to eating synthetic meat. So it's just grown in a lab. They don't actually have to butcher any animals. Well, maybe one, and then they can make all the other meat from it. But the one problem that I was seeing, maybe they've already found a solution that we don't know, is that the cost. They were showing that it's like 100 times more. So if you wanted to order like a hamburger made of this synthetic beef, it's like $1,000. So it's like, well, what the fuck are you guys talking about? No one's going to be able to buy $1,000 hamburger, so what the fuck? Yeah, it sounds like a neat idea. So maybe that's what's going to go, is it's only expensive as fuck right now because they don't have any mass production. If they had giant factories making this lab meat, then hopefully it would cost less than regular meat. So I was thinking that's the problem with the vegan solutions. A lot of times it costs more. So I was like, if they want really people to switch to vegan options, they got to make it cheaper. Like hell, if they offer me food that works and it's cheaper, I don't even really care what I'm eating, as long as it's reasonably healthy. If it starts killing you right away, well then obviously you don't want to eat that. But and taste, I'm not really the greatest on taste. Like I'm one of those people that's a plain eater. Like if you offer me a hot dog compared to like a fucking 5-star meal prepared by the richest chef, I'll just take the hot dog. Like I don't really care about expensive or fancy foods. It's probably because I grew up eating peanut butter sandwiches, bologna sandwiches, Kraft dinner. It's not really anything fancy that I've ever had my whole life, so it's nothing I crave. I've never had it to crave it to begin with. Now, sometimes I do go to like a fancy restaurant like once every 10 years or something. I'm like, whoa, man, this food's fucked. Like I even get allergies from it sometimes. One time I tried eating salmon. I've never eaten salmon before. So I tried eating salmon with a sushi place, like sushi salmon. Yeah, I fucking loved the taste. I got shitloads of energy and I noticed some boosts. But the only problem was I got the, the shellfish allergy reaction, where all of a sudden my fucking joint started aching. I was like, what the fuck? It almost felt like I started to get paralyzed. I was like, what the fuck is this from? And then I found out that shellfish allergy or whatever is a real thing. So if you haven't eaten too much different types of fish before, you're actually supposed to eat small quantities. Eating all you could eat buffet of salmon probably wasn't the right way to go. But I think I will try. That was actually the last food that I went to eat before the pandemic in a restaurant with no masks, was at a sushi place. It was funny too, because everyone was starting to say, hey, it's like, maybe we should go and eat sushi more because people might be racist to Asian people. That's the weirdest part about it, right? Like in Canada, when the pandemic started, it was actually reverse racism, where people are like, oh, we should feel sorry for Chinese people and start going to order food at all the Chinese places just in case they happen to experience some racism. I was like, isn't that kind of racist right off the bat, being extra nice to someone because of their race? It's like, are we supposed to treat everyone as equals? So that's why I was kind of surprised that this has already turned so full circle, that it went from reverse racism to apparently mean racism. It's like, wow, how did that happen? That'd be fun. And that was already like a good portion into the pandemic. I'd say a quarter of the pandemic, we were already still at the point where trying to encourage people to go into Chinese places and order to help out any, reverse any racism that might occur. I shouldn't even say Chinese and sushi. I'm pretty sure it's like, what, Japanese places that do sushi? I don't even know. Maybe it was Korean. Now, it's weird. Even though you live in Canada and you live around like a whole ton of different groups of Asian people, it's very rare we learn anything about the different cultures. Because I find as much as Canada brags about integrating, a lot of cases people just split up into their own sections of the city. Like some people start a Chinatown, some people start a Greek town. And you don't really make a big mean point about it. It's just like a lot of people stick together is how it works. I don't think they segregate it where they're like, oh, you can't come in here unless you're a Greek or whatever. It's just a place you can go where a whole bunch of Greek people have all the same restaurants and you can order Greek food all in one street. Yeah, Korean culture is really cool. That's why I'm always skeptical that North Korea is so evil. I'm like, are they? It's like every Korean I've ever met, it's like one of the nicest people. But then they say too, it's usually the evil dictators create like a really nice people. If you got a really fucking pansy ass leader is when you start getting jackass people. Well, let's see here. Let's go to the casino. No, I think I used to play sports with a girl that was from Korea, and she was really good at sports. Which sport? Oh yeah, we were playing hacky sack. That's the one. No, I even got to party with her for one New Year's. And then I found out she had a boyfriend. I was like, oh, it sucked. No, her boyfriend was really nice though. And he was really wealthy, I think, so I could see why they were together. If I was a chick, I'd be hooking up with him too. No, just kidding. All right, let's go. We got some expedition battles. I want to do a little bit more vaping here. Now, I was thinking if I had any Korean stuff around, and I think I do. I was cleaning my room lately, so it's reached the point where when I go to grab something, I actually have an idea of where it is now. I don't have to like dig in storage for a week and a half. Now I finally started taking some of that advice. You know, when people go through midlife crisis or the end of life crisis, you start to sell or sort through all your possessions and get rid of the stuff you don't need, sort of like minimalizing everything. I was thinking I'm still pretty young, but doing it couldn't hurt because one day I will have to move. And when that day comes, I want that move to go as easy as possible. I don't want shitloads of stuff. Yeah. Oh, fuck, man. We got our asses wiped in that battle. Luckily, everyone survived. Alright, let's bring in some more healing. Enough fucking around here. Now, so this is one of my weed containers I've had since I was a kid. And I didn't know what language it was. I always thought it was Chinese. And then someone who was Korean was over at my house and like, no, it's actually Korean. I was like, really? Maybe it says Korea on it somewhere. Oh yeah, it says it right on the bottom. Fuck. Idiot. It says Korea right on the bottom. Yeah, so I actually have one thing that's made in Korea. Doesn't say if it's from North or South though. I better not be supporting Kim. Now what I used it for is just to put weed in it. It's a nice container. Sadly it has started to tarnish a bit, but I've been using it for like, I don't know, 20, 30 years, so it's about time it's tarnished a little. Fuck, man. He's still not alive. Let's try again. I was hoping we had enough healing there. Yeah, you never realize how much crap you have until you move. You know, every time, like, I've only moved a couple times in my life. I think maybe, how many times? Once, twice. Yeah, I think that's it. So I've moved twice. And even though I've only moved twice in my whole life, that I still have nightmares about moving. I'll like wake up in the middle of the night gasping. I'll be like, oh fuck. And what it was is I'll have a dream that I'm in one of my old apartments and it's time to move and I didn't have time to pack. So like the landlords are yelling at me. They're like, why the fuck haven't you moved out yet? They're like, you're way past your rent and all this, and they're yelling at me. And I have nightmares about that. And you know what I think it triggered it from is the last apartment I lived in. I lived in it for 9 years. And then I got like let go of my job in like a really weird way. So it's like they didn't fire me, but they sort of like laid me off wrongfully. So I was like, either I could fight them in a lawsuit or just not go. So I was like, instead of fighting the place, because I actually really like the employer, and like 99% of the people are super nice there. So I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna fight the entire company just because one fucking jackass is getting rid of me the wrong way. So I just didn't go back. So the weird part yeah, we got into a little bit of a battle in the disputes when it came to unemployment insurance. But it was lucky because they actually wrote me a letter telling me not to come back. So it was pretty easy to say that I didn't quit. Because you can't really tell someone not to come back and then say they quit. Yeah, well, I can't even remember where I was going with that story. Yeah, something about former employers hating it, or no, liking the job and not suing them. Yeah, and Korea. I don't know, I'm holding an artifact from Korea, so that was in there somewhere. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to show. What I used to do back when I smoked weed was I would collect the resin. I don't know if anyone's heard of resin before. It's like the stuff that builds up in pipes and stuff. So what I did is I started collecting mine over the years and just making it into like a giant tinfoil ball. Like just adding more and more and more to it. And obviously I've only been doing this since weed was legal. Just in case the authorities are listening. So anyways, what I did is I kept adding it and adding it and adding it. And I'm putting it in the Korea container. Ah, I should stop touching it. It's making my hands all resiny. Yeah, so that's how big it came out to be. And it's very shiny and sticky. It's all very high quality resin. But it stinks like hell because it has ash in it, right? Normally when you make vaporizer resin, it's not so bad because it doesn't have any ashes in it. But regular bong resin tastes like garbage because it's full of ash. Alright, team's back to full. Which is good. We're going into the second round before the gold chest. This should be a challenge. Get the kid out of there. Oh yeah, they're going to be fucking us over hardcore, so let's bring in some heavy artillery. No more fucking around shit. Let's take him out. Yeah, so I guess that's one advantage to living in Canada, is even though we don't really live with other cultures, everyone sort of self-segregates into different communities, is we still get to shop at each other's garage sales. I think that's how I ended up with that Korea thing. Yeah, and the different foods is nice. I would be supporting the Asian community by buying food, but I don't buy food of any kind. Too POV for that. Although, speaking of POV, I finally splurged some money and invested in some decorations for my room, so it's not just like blank walls all the time, like traditional guys' rooms. So yeah, I finished it today, and I can't play it really for the viewers for the sound, but what I can do is I can play it and just not show sound, or mute it. So let's do that today. See where I left it. Here it is. Right. Hopefully it does not play right away when I open it, which I think it will. Oh fuck. Hoping that wasn't enough for copyright strike. If it was, we'll soon find out. Alright, let's see here. How do I mute this? There's the mute. Alright, so we will do the premiere. Well, I guess we shouldn't do the premiere yet. This is one of the best battles. How's it going? I've got the premiere all queued up, so it's ready to go. Now this will be the first little bit of my Cribs episode sneak peek. Crib slash mom's basement, the ultimate crib. Oh yeah, that's where I was going with that story. Yeah, so my whole work situation got fucked, and my apartment that I had for 9 years, all of a sudden I had to move out like the next week. Because I was like, oh fuck, now I don't have a job. Now I really can't afford my apartment anymore. So yeah, I even had a little bit of an argument with the landlords about when I could move out. Because I was like, fuck guys, you're giving me my deposit back, I have to move. And then like, sorry sir, we can't give you your deposit back, you have to stay an extra month. I'm like, what? And then they're like, yeah, your deposit doesn't count as first and last month's rent, or it's first and last month's rent. They're like, it's not really a deposit. So I was like, well, that's fucked, because when I gave the money to you, you called it a deposit, so that's why I was thinking I was getting it back, right? Usually that's what a deposit is. And then the real estate company, or the people that own the building, they're actually super nice, because I told them that I was so hard up for money, and that my building had just actually been robbed, which was fucked. That's how my whole life started to crash at once. Not only did I lose my job like that, but my place got robbed the same week. So I was like, holy fuck, man, that was quite the shitty week. Lost my job, lost my apartment in 9 years, and it got robbed. And it got robbed while I was on vacation. So I was like, that really sucked. Came back from vacation, and I was like, oh fuck, got robbed. No, the weirdest part was I only got my bike robbed, and it was gone for a few years, and then one day on a full moon, I got it back. So I was like, what the fuck? Normally when your bike is stolen for a few years, you never expect to see it again. Yeah, so that's how I got involved in this whole crib situation. Is I was planning on just moving to my mom's place to save up enough money to get my life back on track. And 10 years later, still haven't got it on track. So remember kids, say no to weed. It'll fuck you up too. I shouldn't blame the weed. I think my life would have been fucked either way, but it probably didn't help. You never know. Could be the Chinese farmer. Fucked me in some ways, might have helped in others. You can't say. Life's so uncertain. Unless you're a YouTube censor, then they'll say. So yes, weed is bad. It'll kill you. Not that I'm offering medical advice. Dear God, I wish there was a day, or that's what I was thinking. I had an idea about that today. I kept thinking, like, I want to just do a stream where I can say whatever I want, but the problem is always YouTube, right? Even if you don't monetize, they could still give you a hard time about what you say. But to be honest, I've been doing my channel for like a year straight, saying pretty much anything I want, and as long as I'm not monetized, YouTube hasn't really given a shit. Especially with the copyright strikes. But like, when you get a copyright strike and you're not monetized, they don't care. Well, I don't know, maybe some cases they do, but as long as you're not monetized, they're like, well, you did get a copyright strike, but since you're not making any money from it, we'll just give the revenue to the people that do own the copyright of your song. So I was like, okay. So how's that even a problem? I think some YouTubers get really greedy that they want to copy other people's work and monetize it. So you almost have to learn to accept that. If you're going to monetize your shit and copy other people's shit, it's not going to mix. But if you don't monetize it, then most people are like, well, this person isn't monetizing it and they're sharing my shit, so unless you're making a mockery of it. I don't know if we're going to win this battle, eh? This is intense. We lost two of our heroes. Our healer nonetheless, yet we're still battling. I don't think we can win it because these fucking guys just keep healing. So we gotta pause, exit. Fuck! No! I yelled all to my heart's content. Can't take any more anger. Alright, so we didn't need that hero. Let's give him a good kick in the ass with the Budokai. Oh, this Budokai's weak. Fucking weak shit. Alright, let's try this. That might work. Yeah, let's go just to the premiere. Let's do the sponsor message, then we'll do the premiere.
Today's sponsor message is brought to you by Crack. Crack. It'll fuck you up. Woo! Yeah. Welcome back, everyone.
Dear God, I thought my sponsor was taking over. Get out of here, you kid. Alright, so let's go to... Oh shit, we killed one of them already. This is a good start to the battle. Crime Fighter's like, hey, you want to fuck with my team? I'll heal them. Oh, come on. You gotta heal that guy, man. He's almost dead. Where's the healing? Come on, healing. Need some healing tonight. Holy fuck, he dodged it. There we go. Now he's back to full. Take that, fuckers. Ah, son of a bitch. There goes Jane Austen. Just when I said I was all angered out. Fucking jinxed it. Can't believe they took out my healer. Fucking pricks. Right, they got so many healers. I gotta take this bitch out. He's the one fucking everyone over with that non-stop healing. God, I wish I had him on my team. Now, there's so many good red healers I'm looking at now. I'm like, God, why is it my healer is the last one I upgraded to red? Fuck. Alright, so I like the team, but I gotta switch it up. I don't know, Crime Fighter, can he really survive? Let's try. I might have to put the fire guy in there. I don't know if the game sound will keep playing, or I guess I can just talk while we watch it. Alright, here's the premiere for what my room looks like now that I've decorated it. And keep in mind, before these decorations, I had nothing. It was just a blank table and a TV. Well, yeah, everything else I had in storage at some point. Yeah, and I'll finish explaining why I had everything in storage. Yeah, so originally when I moved from my apartment, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to have to stay at my mom's place for like a couple years at most. I was thinking a few months actually at the beginning. And then I was like, oh, just a couple years. And then next thing you know, it's almost like a fucking decade. But, so I said, instead of getting down in the dumps that I can't afford to move out and just keeping all my stuff in storage, waiting to move out, this waiting to move out is never happening. So I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm just going to decorate my room now. So I'm like, fuck it. Maybe I'll have to repack up everything if I can afford to move out one day. But at least for now, I can enjoy having a nice room. There's no point just waiting and waiting and waiting to move out again if I'm going to be waiting forever, right? So I said, fuck it. Even though it's only my mom's basement, I'll set it up better. Yeah, so I put up a new TV, got the VR stand, and got some Star Wars themes. No, I noticed a lot of the women I like always like Star Wars. So I'm like, hey, I like Star Wars too. So I might as well make that the theme of the room. I could make it other themes, like shit that only guys like, but I'm like, man, if I'm going to be having babes over one day, I might as well multi-theme it, make it have a dual purpose. So I like it, and some girls like it, or women like it too. Now, and the main reason I go with the Star Wars of the older generation is because it's the movies that I like best. I do have one Baby Yoda thing, or what do they call him, the child? But to be honest, I've never really seen The Mandalorian yet, so I usually just watch the original Star Wars. Oh shit, I hope these clips don't come in copyright. Fuck. Yeah, hopefully if it's only part of the screen, it doesn't count as a copyright. I fucking hope. Yeah, so that's what it looked like. Oh shit, I better go back before more movies play. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't usually use VLC for those kind of movies anymore. They just stream directly from the internet. Yeah, so I hope everyone liked the theming for the room. I know I kind of like Star Trek a little bit better than Star Wars, to be honest, but Star Trek is usually super unpopular with women, so there's the occasional women you meet that like Star Trek, but it's pretty rare, right? Yeah, I was thinking, like, I know Mandalorian's a good show, especially because Gina Carano was in it. She's my favorite MMA fighter for quite a few years. She used to be in Strike Force. So yeah, I was hoping to watch it with her in it, and then finding out she got kicked off the show kind of soured me a little bit, but I probably will still watch it. What I'm doing right now is I'm saving up a whole bunch of good TV shows, so that when I go to watch TV, there's like fucking literally like shows and shows worth of TV I can just binge watch. And it's a good thing for like lockdowns too, because I figure if I watch TV now, I'm kind of wasting the time where I could have been doing other shit. I might as well save TV as like a last resort. Sort of like when I become a senior and I'm stuck in a long-term care home. That's probably when I'll watch a lot of TV, get caught up on all my shows then. But in the meantime, while I'm still have a couple decades before I get to that point, might as well fucking enjoy it, right? Put TV off for now. I don't try to watch TV never, but it's usually like a few, like I don't know, I don't really count watching sports as TV because it's not really a show, right? So if you count sports, I'm still watching TV. But as like shows, I usually don't watch them unless there's like a lockdown, I have to stay inside. Then even then, I got so much stuff I can do indoors. I don't know, I think it was a certain point where I reached an age in my life where I'm like, holy fuck, man, I really don't have much time left, like to do everything that I want to get finished. So I'm like, shit, it's like I really have a hard time just sitting around doing nothing. Like even when I'm playing video games, I always have to be doing something, like working on my YouTube channel. It's very hard for me to just play video games and not be doing something else at the same time, creating something or working on something. I think it's part of being half German. A lot of German people are workaholics. So it's like, yeah, you get to the point where, I know someone was saying that I have a really nice Star Wars setup. I was like, well, it's probably the German thing. It's like I worked and worked and worked at it and tried to refine it and refine it to the point where I got it, I think, a little better than when it started out. Fuck, man, another one of my heroes died. God, man, this battle is just not going well. It was actually the combination of heroes I had at the beginning worked best. Alright, well, fuck this, man. If I'm not beating them, I'll come back and play it some other time. It's pissing me off for now. Fuck it. Oh yeah, and sorry to Shelly. I know I told her that I wasn't going to be doing the show if she's watching the replay. I know she was telling me she was going into the archive and watching it. She's a very dedicated viewer, and I told her that I wasn't going to be streaming tonight. And I really am feeling my voice quite a bit still. But I just couldn't give up. Like, after I fucking took a nap, then I started to realize, hey, my voice recovered a lot during the nap, so... Yeah, so that's the goal for today. Once the 5 missions are complete, we'll be at 30. So first thing when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to start another 5. So that'll put us at 10 purple tasks in total, which will put us up to 35. And so that means basically tomorrow's episode, we'll be able to collect 10 gold frags and the Vibram tokens and get the new blue-haired guy. So yeah, it's going to be quite an episode tomorrow. And if Shelly's listening, I'll try to make it up for you and do the show a bit earlier, but I can't promise. I don't know how much fucking shit I'm going to have tomorrow. Dear God, what day is it today? Today's only Tuesday, thank God. Alright, yeah, so I should be able to have a chance at doing the show early tomorrow. Because I know, what is it coming up the weekend, I got some plans. No indoor plans, but yeah, just outdoor plans. I'll probably still get the show done, but I'm not sure what time then. Hopefully early, so I'll get it finished quick. Oh yeah, big shout out to the event center. Oh fuck, man, I forgot to bet. Oh. You know, that's the thing. If I'm not losing Hunger Games, I'm forgetting to bet Hunger Games. I don't know which I hate worse. I'm pretty sure I hate losing worse, but fucking piece of shit. Yeah, well anyways, I was just about to be happy that I won the Hunger Games, but then I remembered that I didn't bet for the next round. Piece of garbage. Did I miss the next round betting? Yeah, I did. You know, if the game developers are listening to the viewers, you got to make something that tells people the Hunger Game event is ending soon. Like, I don't know, put like a red ticker with a timer here saying event ending and like bet round ending in like 10 minutes or whatever it is. Because when I'm like scanning through here, I go by the event center like hundreds of times while I'm playing. But I'll forget. And there's nothing red here that shows me. It's like, you know the red dots that you put on everything else? I really don't even need those. What I need is the red dot here. It's the only one that I need a red dot for, and it's the only one that doesn't have it. So I don't know if any of the game developers are listening. Fuck, I'm starting to lose my voice again. Son of a bitch. Game developers are getting me on a fucking tangent again. Yeah, because like really the other ones, I don't need the red dot, and you know why? Because I can just go to the daily tasks thing. It'll tell me. Does the fucking Hunger Games thing show up anywhere on this list? No, it doesn't. So that's why I need the red dot for it. Because it's the one thing that I don't have anything telling me. I actually need the red dot for it. So hopefully that message gets to the game developers. I doubt it will, but if they want to make the game better and not make people quit. Like, to be honest, I have like a 70% urge to just quit the game because of that Hunger Game misbet. So if you're wondering, like, as like a long time player, how much of an urge does it make me want to quit the game from the feature you've added? And it's about a 70%. Like, there's still a 30% like, oh fuck, I invested some money, I got a podcast going, I should keep it going. But 70% of me is actually saying, fuck it, this game is a piece of shit. I fucking hate missing the bets in the Hunger Games. It makes me just want to quit the game. So as a game developer, if you're like, hey, some of these things might want players to stay in the game, some things might want them to quit the game. And since it's a paid game, like people are investing money, maybe you should try to focus on fixing some of the things that make people want to quit the game. Like fucking screwing people around with that Hunger Games bet system. Just goddamn, put a little timer here. Like 10 minutes left till the Hunger Game bet ends. Maybe design this statue so it shows like a Hunger Games person and have like a giant clock they're holding. So it'd be like, hey, this is how much time till the Hunger Games bet ends. So that way, when I'd be playing the game, even if I'm high, drunk, it doesn't matter. I could be scrolling around. I'd be, oh fuck, the Hunger Games is about to end betting. Better place a bet. So that I don't fucking log in the next day and go, ah fuck, forgot to place the bet. I'm just gonna quit the game. Yeah, it's damn tempting to quit the game. Like every time I look at Suki quitting the game, like, she's so lucky. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. She broke the addiction. How did she do it? Yeah, I got a little bit of a pop for after. I think I should drink some now after doing like 5 shots. It's like, ever pour some shots, get a chaser, and then drink all the shots and be like, oh yeah, the chaser. Yeah, it's one bad thing about drinking too much alcohol, or one of the many bad things. The more you drink it, the more it has less and less effect on you. It's a bit same thing with weed, really. Eventually you get to the point where you can just drink alcohol like crazy and you're not even really enjoying it anymore. Just wasting your money and destroying your liver. Now that's one of the things I wonder about the really high concentrate potency THC, like vaporizing it all the time. People say that it can destroy your liver pretty bad, and I wonder about my digestion too. Like I've had so many weird stomach issues. I don't know, some people share on YouTube like what some of their weird stomach issues are. I'm like, man, that's really weird, but still nothing compared to what my weird ones are like. And I've had really weird stomach issues, like where I actually had to go to the hospital for chemotherapy on my stomach and shit, so I really am in a bad position where I shouldn't be making fun of Canadian healthcare. It did save my life once. No, but that's why my stomach is so fucked. Like, it's got a long history of being fucked. Not in a good way. No, so one of the weirdest symptoms, I don't know, anyone else has this symptom, maybe they can tell it to me, or just pretend like you do so I don't feel so bad. No, one of the weirdest symptoms I get is when, you know how you eat a meal and you go to the washroom, you're like, oh God, the smell in the washroom is horrible, right? You gotta get out of there. It's like, I don't know, at one point in my digestion, maybe like 5 years ago, maybe less than that, maybe, yeah, it could be about 4 years. But anyways, that changed for me. So now when I go to the washroom, usually it smells just like the food that I ate. So isn't that fucked? Like, isn't it supposed to change odor? Like, why the hell would your washroom break smell exactly the same as the food you just ate? I know some people might be thinking, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. Like, holy shit, like, now you don't have to deal with awful washroom smells. But at the same time, thinking, like, that's not right, though, right? Like, normally your body should change the odor of it. Like, it's digesting everything. It's not coming out like the food. It's actually, like, fully digested, but why the fuck it still smells the same? That's really freaking me out. So hopefully my stomach will last a few more years before I end up in the emergency room. Then I'll have to stop making fun of Canadian healthcare because I'll be like, oh fuck, this is the only thing saving me now. No, I tried looking that symptom up on Google and I can't find anyone with it. So I was like, that's kind of fucked, right? Like, normally when you get bad health problems, you look it up on Google or message boards, you at least find like 1 or 2 other people that are experiencing something similar. But I don't think I've ever heard of that issue. Where people are like, yeah, I go to the washroom and it smells exactly like the food I just ate. Like even drinks. Like I can drink something and it'll smell just like I drank something. But not when I go to, like, just take a leak. Just when I, whatever comes out of my stomach. So it's like if I drink a whole bunch of apple juice, it'll smell like, all my farts will smell like apple juice. And if I drink only grape juice, all my farts will smell just like grape juice. It's like, what the fuck with that, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I really got to try to moderate more. These high potency concentrates probably are having a horrible effect on my body. But there's no real way of knowing, because if you look back in history, no one's really vaporized high potency concentrates before. It's the same thing as the vegan diet. The vegan diet's never really been tried in history. I know some people claim that there's like ancient vegans, but usually those are like street performer people, where they trick people into thinking. Sort of like in India. They have street performers in India that trick people into thinking they haven't eaten food in 100 years. Or yeah, they claim to be like 100 years old and they haven't eaten in 80 years or whatever. But you really can't take that as like ancient vegans, because that's bullshit. There's no one that's not eaten for 80 years. He's like a street performer. It's like street magicians. Street magicians aren't really doing real magic, right? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, normally that weird sensation of being able to smell everything after you've gone to the washroom, it only happened before with asparagus. So you know what it's like if you eat a whole ton of asparagus and you go to the washroom, it smells like asparagus after. So it's like, that's the only time it's ever happened my whole life. So I was like, okay, that's normally how it works. And then when it started happening for every meal, I was like, oh fuck man, that's not good, right? Like why the hell am I not able to transfer smells? The only thing I could put to it is they did say that once you have a concussion, it can change your sense of smell. Same like how apparently the virus can do it too. So I was thinking maybe that's the only thing, because I actually did lose my sense of smell for about a year and a half when I had my concussion. And the weird part was I didn't even realize I lost my sense of smell. Like normally I didn't focus my whole life on smells. Like I didn't go around going, hey, what does this smell like? What does this smell like? So when I lost my sense of smell, I didn't even notice. And the only time I noticed it is when people started commenting that I had like really bad body odor. And I was like, what? I don't smell anything. I was like, whoa, maybe I do have body odor and it's just I can't smell it. And then the real thing that hit me was when I got my sense of smell back. I went to the chiropractor and he did one of those neck adjustments. And my neck was badly damaged in the accident. So he did one of the neck adjustments and all of a sudden I got my sense of smell back. I was like, what the fuck? That was weird. And you know how I noticed it? All of a sudden I could smell food. I was like, holy fuck, what the hell is that? And he's like, what? I'm like, is there really good food cooking? And he's like, there's been food cooking the whole time. What are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I can just smell it now. And he's like, well, maybe your sense of smell is doing a little better. And I'm like, you know what? It's like, I haven't smelled anything since the accident. I didn't even realize it. And then I was like, I started walking around like, holy shit, I can smell coffee. I can smell sandwiches. It's like everything started smelling amazing. So I was like, holy, that's probably what makes smells even more intense, is if you haven't smelled them for a long time, right? And then when you do, it's like, oh God, it smells like 10 times better. So maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe it's actually not my digestion that's fucked. I'm hoping that's what it is. But I'm not too optimistic. I should just ask someone and be like, hey man, you want to go in the washroom and tell me what you think I ate? And if they could guess, I'll be like, okay, it wasn't the concussion. No, but if anyone's really paranoid that they've had that happen, well then you don't have to worry about dying right away. I've been managing to live like this for quite a few years. So far, knock on wood. Now some people are probably watching going, oh, that explains everything. Yeah, that was the only other time too. I shouldn't say that asparagus was the only one. One time when I ate way too many pop brownies, I could smell it again. That's what I'm thinking, that weed is so strong. Like, it's one of those things that's like as strong as asparagus. It can really fucking add a lot of toxins to your system. Well, I shouldn't really say weed is a toxin because technically it's got shitloads of ammonia in it, and ammonia is a toxin, but your body already has shitloads of it in it. You just don't want ammonia overload. That's when it gets really dangerous. Yeah, because that's what I was like, man, maybe I should cut back on weed. I'm like, if I can smell weed coming out of like every orifice, maybe I've had too much. Maybe. Yeah, I figured today's a good episode to get all the toilet humor out of the way, because I'm probably going to alienate all the women viewers, unless a lot of lady viewers are into that, and I don't want to know. Alright, so yeah, what was one of the other things? One time when I was a teenager, I got spiked with LSD, and I had to go to this big a movie event. It was like actually a Japanese animation event where it was at a university, and they had shitloads of movies playing in a giant lecture hall. And the giant lecture hall is just packed with people from Japan, so it's like most people would ask for the, what is it called? Not dubbed, subtitled movies, because they could all speak Japanese, so they didn't really care if it was, they didn't want the English dubbed versions. So anyways, I was going to watch the anime at that big concert, and I was like, fuck man, I'm spiked with acid, but I'll try to do it anyways. Excuse me. Because I felt like I wasn't really that intoxicated. Like I was thinking, dear God, if I was so intoxicated, I can't go outside because I won't be able to function. But I was able to handle it. It was only like a, well, I shouldn't say mild, but it was pretty strong, but I was still able to handle it. But anyways, the worst part is once we did it, we had already ordered, or once we got spiked, we got ordered pizza at the university just before we took it or got spiked. So I was like, oh fuck, we were so hungry, we ordered a whole bunch, and then we had to wait for like an hour for the pizza to cook. So while we were waiting that hour for the pizza to cook, what we got spiked with started to kick in. So I was like, oh fuck man, I'm getting so wrecked. I don't know if I can eat this pizza now. Because if anyone's ever been spiked with LSD before, one of the weird side effects from it is you lose all appetite. So it doesn't even matter if you're fucking starving to death. When you try it, you won't get hungry. Or you'll even get to the point where you just can't eat. Yeah, so that's what happened. The pizza place gave us our pizza. And they're like, what's wrong with you guys, right? Like, why aren't you eating your pizza? And we couldn't tell them that we'd been spiked with the acid or LSD. So we're like, oh, we just kind of lost our appetites. I can't remember what we did with the pizza. I think we gave it to someone. So then afterwards, no, I tried 1 or 2 slices of the pizza and it didn't agree with me. So I was like, fuck it, let's give the pizza away. So we ended up giving the pizza away, or maybe someone else in our group plowed it back. I can't remember. But the moral of the story was, man, those slices of pizza, not only did they not agree with me, but when I was watching the anime in the movie theater, all of a sudden I got hit with a horrible washroom sensation. I was like, oh fuck, I gotta leave the theater and try to make it to the washroom. I'm not gonna make it, I'm ready to burst, right? And I was tripping on acid, so I was like, oh fuck man, how am I gonna get out of this movie theater without falling over? I was trying to enjoy the movie, but I couldn't because I had to go to the washroom so bad. Couldn't hold it any longer. Yeah, so then anyways, what happens was, I'm like, man, the university washrooms were kind of gross on the bottom floor. Or no, what it was, I was worried that my farts at the time when I was a teenager, they stunk really bad. So I'm like, oh man, I could tell that because I ate this pizza, it was going to be a nasty smelling one. So I didn't want to use the washroom right next to the movie theater because I'm like, oh fuck, then the whole movie theater is going to reek, right? So what I did is I went to the library at the university. I'm like, oh, I'll go to the very top floor. If anyone's watching who was at the university, sorry. So I went into the washroom at the university on the top floor at the library and dropped off the pizza. And man, it reeked so bad that even though I did like the courtesy flush to try to get rid of all the smell, I couldn't stop the smell. And it leaked out from the washroom. Like, this is a big library, so I'm thinking, holy, it probably will just linger in one part of the library, it won't be so bad. But as I was coming out of the washroom, there was like people running for the door in the library. And I'm like, what's the matter? And people are like, there's a horrible stench taking over the whole floor of the library. They're evacuating it. I'm like, what? And then I was starting to realize it was, oh fuck, it was me. I fucking stunk up the library washroom so bad they had to fumigate an entire floor. So I was like, oh fuck. Never again will I eat pizza, do LSD, and go to a movie theater. That was a bad combination. But it was quite the adventure. I have to give it that. No, and afterwards, when I was at the movie theater, we came back out for watching. They started talking to people in the hall, and then like everyone's like, "Did you hear what happened in the library?" I was like, "No." I was thinking, dear God, thank God I went to the fucking library though. If I would have dropped that off next to the movie theater, that would have been the end of that show. We would have had the whole theater to ourselves. Heck, if that happened today, it would probably be labeled a hate crime. I'm just kidding. Go to the Japanese people and targeted them for a bomb of farts. Sorry, I shouldn't make fun of racism. No, David Chappelle was able to do it for how many years? I don't think if he had a show, he'd be able to do it anymore. He'd be like, fuck, man, can't make fun of racism anymore. That was like back in our generation when racism was extinct. People used to talk about it as like a joke. I miss those days, but, well, they'll be back one day. Don't you worry, they'll be back. Alright, I can't play that anymore. I'm so sick of battling it. I don't want to battle it anymore. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, they say this guy's pretty tough. See if he can take him. No, I think back to those days when I was into anime, like watching Japanese animation all the time. God, there's so many stories from those days. A lot of those shows were great, and it's funny, I don't even remember hardly any of the movies or the shows. It was just like the adventure of going. That's why I was kind of thinking about all these lockdowns. People are like, oh, you can just watch it at home. Like, you know, when I look back at my life, I used to watch shit all the time. But you know what I remember? Was the adventures outside going to watch the shit. Half the shit I watched, I don't even remember. It was all about the adventure. It's like the journey, right? It's not always about the destination. No, they're starting to target our young people again in our city, saying they're going to shut down all their activities, saying they can't go to school anymore and shit. And young people are starting to fight back. I wouldn't be surprised if we see full-blown protests soon. Because it is kind of getting ridiculous. Like right now in our city, they say there's an outbreak, and you check, it's 10 people. Guess how many people are in the dorms that fucking apparently have this giant outbreak? Over 2,000. So it's like 10 people have it, and they don't even have symptoms. I think they're asymptomatic. So they're trying to shut down the whole school because of it. And all the students are like, fuck that. We paid all this money for our tuition. Keep the fucking school open. 10 people with no fucking symptoms out of 2,000? Fuck that shit. No, the politicians really have a way of spinning things. And it's amazing how they work so closely with the media now. It's really scary. Like, I used to hear that the Germans in the old World War time were closely with the media, and I never realized why that was a bad thing. I was like, why would anyone care if what the newspaper said? People would just know otherwise. And then you start to see, like, why the government does it. They do it because it actually changes public opinion to a certain degree, where now you got, like, half your public thinking whatever you want them to think. It's pretty fucked up. No, I was thinking in the future, if we wanted to fix a whole bunch of the problems that we got going in our society, I was thinking about that today for a whole bunch of them. Like the live streaming one. When I started to get to that story, I was like, well, one of the main issues I face today in my everyday life is I have no live streaming option that I can just do whatever I want and not have to worry about getting my channel shut down. So I was thinking, remember in the olden days, if anyone's watching the show and you're like from the 80s or 90s, they might even do it today, like during the new modern lockdown prohibition days. But what it was, when I was like a teenager, there was this underground music movement called rave. I don't know if people still call rave music a thing. I think they just changed it to like electronic music or whatever they call it now. But people used to have these raves, and what it was is people wanted to go to raves, they wanted to listen to rave music, but the bars and the nightclubs, they wouldn't do it. So they would only have like regular country music or rock and roll. They would never play the rave music. So what people started to do, they would get sick of all the nightclubs and bars just refusing to play the music they wanted to party to. So they started to set up illegal parties. So I know, like, you know how we're facing this situation with streaming. We want to do a stream. Well, we can't because they don't want our content. So we got to find like some sort of underground way, not necessarily illegal. I'm looking for just a way that would be underground. But yeah, as the affiliation was the rave idea. So what ravers did is they built up a network of everyone that liked to go to raves, and they would just announce underground parties. So they'd be like, okay, the party's going to be in this warehouse at this time, and they wouldn't tell anyone else. So they'd be like, hey, if there's people that don't like raves and they don't want us to play the rave music, we'll just go somewhere else. So that's what they did, is they started renting warehouses. So you would, all of a sudden, if you were a raver, you would get a message and you'd be like, hey, there's a warehouse party in 10 hours at this warehouse. So people would just go, and you wouldn't get big announcement. Because they said anytime they tried to announce the rave too early in advance, the cops would find out. So they said the only way they could keep the cops from finding out was just to announce the rave a few hours before it started. So literally you'd get a notice, you'd be like, there's a rave going. You'd be like, all right, let's go to the rave. And everyone would just drop everything, go to the rave. And you would never know where it was going to be until you found out that it was going to start soon. So I was thinking that's what we got to do with our live streams, is in the future, people will realize that in order to host these live streams, we'll have to do it like raves, where someone will just have to host their own party, their own live stream. It won't be on some big platform like YouTube or fucking Twitch or whatever the big companies are. They'll just be hosting a live stream from their fucking computer. And I think what people will have to do after that is they'll have to network the computer like a BBS broadcasting system. So each person that logs in to watch the stream shares that stream from their computer to 2 people. And then the next person who watches shares that stream with 2 people. Sort of so it could start branching out and it doesn't lag down one person's computer so that a whole bunch of people can't watch the stream. So I was thinking that's what we could do in the future, is we'll just have to implement the rave model, where we can't just have our fucking normal parties in bars. We're going to have to make an underground rave in a warehouse, similar to just setting up a live stream on our fucking own server. Like, fuck hosting it on YouTube, fuck hosting it on whatever host platform has all these rules. See, that's the problem we got with all these rules, is we're trying to host it in a nightclub. And it's like, we got to realize that, hey, we can't host it in the nightclub. We got to host it in the fucking warehouse, right? Not to say that hosting our own servers would be illegal. We can still do it legally, right? I don't preach civil disobedience. Oh, rave music is called EDM now. Yeah, I was wondering what they changed the name to. Because I was thinking I haven't heard about kids going to a rave in a long time. Now, I was never actually big into raves, because raves were a thing where a lot of people used to do Molly or E or whatever ecstasy pills were called. And I never even tried those. I was like, man, I'm already horny as hell as it is. Why the hell am I going to take a drug that makes me hornier? So I was definitely not into that part of the raves. Although the magic mushrooms I got spiked with at raves a couple times, that wasn't so bad. And I always had weed too. So I figure if I had weed and I was already catching a good buzz, what the hell did I need other drugs for? Actually, my whole life when I was growing up, I very rarely drank alcohol. I really didn't start drinking alcohol regularly until my 40s, which is kind of fucked up, right? I think when I was a teenager, I drank alcohol a little bit, but then I just quickly switched to weed. Well, it was mainly because my back injury. My doctor's like, hey man, if you can take weed and not take painkillers, go for it. That was a nice thing. I was lucky I had a doctor that said that. I don't even think he's still alive, but if he is or isn't, cheers to that doctor. He was a good doctor. He was an old guy, so I kind of worry if he's still alive, but hopefully he still is. Now, I was starting to get hooked on Tylenol bad because my back injury was so bad. And he's like, man, if you can take weed instead of Tylenol, or especially if you're going to get into opiates, it's definitely better just to go with weed. And if you don't have any injuries, then fuck, just stay clear of all of it. Enjoy sobriety while you can. And sipping whiskey all night sure helps with my voice. That was the one thing I never liked about doing a public radio, like an actual radio station, is they don't allow the DJs or whatever they're called, the radio people, to drink alcohol. I was like, what the fuck? You can't drink alcohol? Why not? And they're like, oh, yeah, it has to be professional and all this. I was thinking, dear God. Like, I know you don't want your host to get hammered on the air, but it'd be nice if you could just have a sip. Because, man, like, alcohol tends to help your voice if it's, like, really burning. Like, God, if it wasn't for this whiskey, I don't think I'd be able to keep talking. Yeah, that's what I heard, is that, whatchamacallit, BitChute. BitChute, a lot of people are bitching. They're like, man, we raised all this money to start BitChute, but we can't fucking live stream. So, like, really, what's the point of hosting videos if you still can't live stream? Now, that's what I was thinking. We're so lucky that when we look back in the old days from where the internet first began, the solutions to a lot of the problems we're facing with censorship were actually solved when the internet first came out. Holy fuck, it froze, and look at a cool point it froze at. Isn't that a nice one? Alright, let's reload it. Yeah, because I don't know if anyone is older than the internet like me. Back in my day. We used to actually have this system called BBS, where you didn't need an internet connection. You just took your modem, you hooked it up to your computer, and then you typed in a phone number to the modem. And I could be like, hey, call John's computer. So I'd type in John's phone number, it would call his computer, and whatever files that John had on his computer, I could share. So it was like setting up a network over the phone line. So that's how the internet originally started. And then what people started to realize is we needed a list of everyone's computers that were hooked up to modems. So that's when you started to get websites. Because they're like, hey, there's like a list of everyone that has an internet connection that you can call. So instead of having to put in the phone number, then you would just get an internet service provider. Instead of a phone number, they would give you a website. So that's why we sort of switched. I don't know if that internet switch was really such a good idea. I almost feel like we should switch back to fight censorship. Because if I'm just phoning someone's computer, I don't need an internet service provider. I can access their live stream. The only problem was how many people could you get to connect to one? And that's where the viewer Top Shelf is talking about the blockchain thing. So that's where BBS, I think, might have been the first blockchain, where when you logged into someone's computer, you would access the list file that they had on theirs, and that was like a chain. So you would check to see how updated their list was. So if their list was like list version 456, and you had list version 300, you'd be like, fuck, I should update the new list. So then you'd have a new BBS list on your computer that you just got from logging into that person's computer. So then if anyone else got a new updated list, then they would start sharing it on like message boards or whatever, and then everyone would have the new list of everyone's computers that had a phone number that you could just call. Yeah, so that'd be the weird part of the future. I was thinking if I ever got shut down by YouTube, or if I got shut down by the internet altogether, what I could do is just tell people, okay, use my Discord, log into Discord, and tell everyone that's in Discord that here's the phone number that you can call for the show tonight at what time. So people would be like, oh fuck, Leland's cut off the internet. In order to watch the show, I'm going to have to get a modem for my computer that allows me to actually put in a phone number directly, which I think you still can do that. So then all of a sudden you would just put in the phone number that my show was being broadcast from and connect to my computer or whoever's mirroring it directly. So fuck YouTube. If they wanted to censor me, I could just say, hey, I'm switching to my BBS channel. I don't even need an internet service provider. Really, the internet service provider, all it is a convenience. They're not actually providing us a service we essentially need. They're really just helping us connect to a list of people's computer servers. And they called it a www dot address instead of a fucking phone number. So I think a lot of people from today's generation, they don't really know about the old internet before it was like before the www dot system. So they actually think that there's no other way to connect to people's computers other than the internet. The internet's actually pretty primitive when you think about it. Like, you imagine like each person who had like a really good podcast, like say Joe Rogan had his own server at his house, and you could just log into the server at his house by calling his house, and he'd have like a phone number that was dedicated to just his computer. So then you would call Joe Rogan's landline, connect to his computer, and you'd be getting his podcast, and you wouldn't need YouTube, you wouldn't need an internet service provider. All you need is a fucking phone and a computer. That's why I kind of found it weird how everyone's like, oh, I get cut off social media, I'm fucked. It's like, no, you're not really that fucked. Sure, it's less convenient, but you can still get around it. Yeah, I shouldn't say less convenient. That'd be fucking inconvenient as hell, but who knows? Maybe we'll make it less inconvenient because people arguing that BBS lines and modems and everything were working on primitive technology, it wouldn't be fast enough to share files. Well, it turns out, I don't know if anyone wants to check Wikipedia. I did a couple months ago. Yeah, just look it up and see how fast dial-up modems got. It turned out they didn't stop developing the technology. So they went from 24K to 56K, and then they went to, 512? So they actually have like reasonable high speeds with dial-up modems now. It didn't stay at 56K. Which I was kind of surprised. I thought like modems and all that dial-up shit just stopped being developed, but no. There were still like universities and stuff that kept working on the technology, and they made it better. Hey, there's Stella. How's it going, Stella? Stella! Oh, fuck, man. The guy's at 100,000 power level, and I died. You son of a whore. I'm just kidding. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Oh, fuck, man. Today's just the day of losses in the arena. Fuck that shit. Yeah, so I was actually thinking about that the other day. Like, all the different worlds of problems that we have these days, there actually is quite a few viable solutions. That's why I'm surprised when Joe Rogan has so many guests on his show that they don't really talk about many of the solutions. Like, often Joe Rogan says that on his show, too. He's like, fuck, guys, we keep talking about all these problems. When are we going to start getting some solutions to add to the conversation here? He's always, like, trying to figure out solutions, but no one's got any fucking ideas. They're all drunk and high too much. If it wasn't for Sober October, I don't think they'd get anything done. All right. Now, the other one that Joe Rogan always likes to talk about, because he used to live in California, is the homeless solution. I know communism sucks, and the idea of low-income housing projects really sucks, but I was thinking we need to do a balanced system of both. Like right now, we have it either you live in community housing projects or you live in a rich place. So it's like either one or the other. I was thinking what we need to do is make it so that each person who pays taxes, like an actual registered citizen who's paying taxes, not behind on their taxes, gets a fucking low-income housing project house that they can either use as storage or they can stay in it as an emergency place. So I was thinking most people that have like a decent job and a reasonable life, they'd be like, fuck it, I don't need to live in my community housing storage unit. But other people that have like hit rock bottom, they'd be like, if the cops pulled them over and said, hey man, go back to your house, they could never say that I'm homeless, because that person would always have a community housing storage unit that they're allowed to stay in. And I mean like totally tiny places, like I'm talking like Hong Kong size. So I know most people say, oh, it's a horrible solution, but really it's like once everyone has housing, like guaranteed housing. I know people talk about the guaranteed minimum income project, and I kind of think that is really a disaster. So this probably could be a disaster too, but it's really already a disaster either way. So if we're going to have a disaster of homeless people or a disaster of like community housing projects that have fucked everyone, I'm almost sure of it that, yeah, the homeless solution probably isn't the better of the two. Let's hope not. Alright, what do we got for daily tasks? Sorry, I'm getting hammered here. I can't even pay attention to what I'm doing. Alright, what do we got? Consume heroes. Let's consume some heroes. Now, I think the main issues that I see that would need to be resolved if you did start a community housing project like that would be the crash in the real estate market. Because then some people rightfully would say that, hey, if everyone had a free apartment, why the fuck would they buy a house, right? So I know to a certain degree that would cause an imbalance in the fucking real estate market. The only thing I would argue with that is it's a fucking like community housing fucking storage unit. Like how many people would really consider that a viable option? Most people would be like, fuck that, I'm just going to use it for storage and I'm going to actually have a real apartment. So I don't think it would really cut into the... You never know though, imagine everyone did switch to just living in the fucking community shelter. Or your storage unit. That's what I was thinking too, like the government has no problems, like money-wise, if they wanted to build fucking giant housing complexes just loaded to the tits with those fucking storage unit size apartments. Because they could fucking build them one for each person and it would barely put a dent in the fucking national budget. Like giant buildings like that, they're fucking dirt cheap to make. Especially when you have you own a whole fucking country. Like dear God, you have all these construction pouring factories that are government owned. It's like you could easily build those. See, that's the problem, is like all the housing is a balance either between community housing or the fucking really rich housing. It needs to be the combination of both. So even people that lived in the storage units, they'd be like, hey, they're always trying to aspire to try to get a real apartment. So that would probably help alleviate a little bit of the fucking high rent cost too. Because then maybe people would be like, hey, we shouldn't be building so many of these fucking units or putting so many fucking high prices on them. Because if we don't lower our prices, people will just stay in the free ones. I don't know. Could be a disaster, but I don't know. Like, I just see all those homeless people and I think, dear God, for the amount that they paid into the government system, they should at least get a fucking shack or a storage shed to live in. Like, God, you're paying in thousands every year your whole life. Even tens of thousands in some cases. It's not like you're getting it for free. You're paying in. Now that is the argument too. Like if you give everything too much for free, will people even try? Or would they just get high all day and live in the storage unit? That would be a serious risk. That's even one of the risks I think the lockdowns faced. When they started paying people to just stay home and get drunk all day, they're starting to realize, hey, how are we going to get these people back to work if they've been used to getting paid to just sit at home and get drunk all day? Now, so I think if I was actually like a prime minister of Canada, that'd be one of the first things that I would do. I would mandate the community housing program so that everyone would have one housing unit as long as you're paying taxes. If you don't pay your taxes or whatever, then they'd be like, fuck it, sorry buddy, you don't get the storage unit. So technically it wouldn't be for free, it would just be like part of like, hey, you're an actual taxpayer, you get a storage unit. And heck, the way they do those storage units, they could probably offer extras. So even though the government's allowing you to stay in a storage unit, they'd be like, hey, you want to upgrade the size of your storage unit to like say an extra $100 a month, then you can pay into that. So they can make it like a video game. So it's like, yeah, sure, there's the free to play option where you get this cheap ass storage unit, or you can pay the government a little bit of extra and get a little bit nicer of a unit. So there would still be incentive to try. You'd be like, oh fuck, do I want to keep living in this one room shithole? Or do I want to actually get at least a part-time job so I can have like a fucking 2-room apartment? So there still would be some incentive. Although it would be tempting just to live in a fucking closet and get wasted all day. Play video games. Ruin your life. So if I was on Joe Rogan's show, that's what I would pitch to him. I'd be like, Joe, you want to solve the fucking homeless problems in California? Give every person in the US a fucking storage shelter to live in if they want. And it's not going to be fucking rocket science. Like, dear God, how long does it take to build a fucking condo? Even private companies can build it in a fucking matter of a week in China. You ever see the records that China puts for like building up condo units? I think, what did they say? That they can build a 20-story building in 24 hours? That's their record or something? And that's like fully furnished. And they said the problem with our units when we build them in North America is they're often different. So they can't just drop modules off. But in China, they make a lot of the housing units identical. So when they need a fucking new condo building, they can just print it off in a factory, drop all the modules off, already fully assembled. So they just build them up like Lego blocks, ready to go. That way you can build like high skyscrapers overnight. Yeah, they showed some of the Chinese cities that they built overnight. It's fucking amazing. It's amazing, yeah. They're trying to like move everyone from the country into the city and get them to live in a fucking cardboard, or not a cardboard, a little box. I'm pretty sure that's the way our government in Canada is going too. They want to build Toronto giant with like fucking tons of little tiny fucking units and move everyone from the country to those. So literally like companies and corporations, they can just go around raping all the land and everyone will just be stuck in the city and won't even see it. I don't know if anyone's ever traveled in Canada, you can really see how the industries work and how they try to hide from the public about how much damage they do to the environment. Like often I come into this debate with young people. I'll be like, hey guys, like the environment's fucked, right? There's almost no land left. And then they'll be like, no, if you travel up north in Canada, you'll find like highways that go for miles and miles, and there's no sign of any civilization. But then I realized when I started traveling up north, I rented a plane and flew over. What the mining companies do, or the logging companies, is they'll mine and log everything within like say 20 meters of the highway. So there's this little strip of land that surrounds the edge of the highway that's undeveloped. But if you go just beyond the highway, over that little section of trees you can't see through, then all of a sudden you get to the spot that's just logged clean or mined clean. Not really clean, but cleaned out, right? So that's one of the catches when you're like going up north. You might be like, oh, all this land, so pristine, hardly any mining, hardly any logging. And then all of a sudden you realize, actually, no, that's not the case. There's actually everywhere's logged, everywhere's mined. The companies have already stripped the planet bare. That's why I kind of worry about the whole overpopulation thing to a little degree. I don't worry about it to the point of like the Georgia Guidestones, thinking that we should fucking wipe out half the planet so that we don't use up all the resources. That's a little bit extreme. I think really what we should do is just colonize Mars and the Moon and Venus and then mine the shit out of those planets, and we can use as much fucking resources and space as we want. We don't have to worry about cutting back on jack shit. We can each have 50 kids each if we wanted. If they're all willing to live on the moon. Yeah, that's one thing I don't worry about, overpopulation. Like really, if we start exploring space and we start building condos on other planets, imagine how many people we could fit in a fucking condo on another planet. We could get to the point where we could push our population to the fucking trillions, for God's sakes. The only issue will be the food, and hopefully those food replicators that the vegans are working on will work. That's the one thing that everyone's missing when it comes to space travel, like Mars programs and moon programs. How many times have you seen them bring animals to space? Like every time NASA and all these programs are going to space, they keep talking about vegan food. But I was like, that's fucking bullshit. We're not going to be able to have any colony on Mars or the moon if they have no fucking animal products. They're going to need milk, they're going to need eggs, and they're going to need meat. So I don't care how many fucking beans they grow on Mars, they're not going to be fucking surviving there unless they get some animals there, right? Unless these vegans manage to make this fucking synthetic meat. That would be maybe the solution to meat on Mars. Yeah, so if anyone's like an investor, I can't offer investor advice, but if I could, I would probably invest in space chickens. They're going to be a hot commodity. Company that manages to raise chickens on the moon so that they can start getting eggs for the people that live there. They'll have to battle the vegan activists that don't want them to bring animals to other planets. Can you imagine how much torture there'll be for the chickens in space? They'll have to try to live in a chicken coop on the moon with no gravity, chicken poop flying everywhere. Oh wait, the moon has some gravity, so the shit will still fall downhill. Holy shit, the show made it up to 2 hours and no one's watching. I figured that was gonna happen. Holy fuck, did we just beat the dungeon? Did we just beat the dungeon? Did we? Oh my god. I think we just did. 2 hours of talking randomly and not paying attention, and we beat the fucking dungeon. Alright. Yes. Victory! Now, hopefully this episode will get seen by a couple people in the archive. I really should have focused more on the greenhouse destruction story. But we got to all the details in that. Yeah, so that was a miracle. I can't believe how my neighbor's car got crushed by the greenhouse and came out without a scratch. So I don't know, maybe I'll have to start promoting that car as one of my affiliates. That is a fucking impressive car. Like I even seen that on the commercial, right? Where they showed the shopping cart hitting the fucking car and not leaving a scratch. So I was like, maybe that is possible. Fucking shopping cart could smash into a car. Maybe so can a greenhouse. Thank God. I'd be out thousands of dollars. Well, I already am out thousands, but thousands more. Yeah, it's one nice thing in life. If you ever lose a lot of money, don't forget. When you lose a lot of money, it helps in one way. God, losing my voice again. No, you'll probably... Oh, God bless me. Yes, those are sneezes, not coughs. Excuse me. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna burst. Oh, even eyes are watering. Yeah. Oh yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the joys of losing money. Now, one of the best things about losing money is if you lose $1, then losing 10 cents doesn't seem so bad. And if you lose $10, then losing $1 doesn't seem so bad. And if you lose $100, then losing 10 doesn't seem so bad. And I'm surprised. I've moved this chain all the way up to losing 10,000. And even after losing 10,000, I was like, wow, it still works. Now losing 1,000 doesn't seem so bad. So who knows, maybe like Elon Musk, when he loses $1 billion, He's like, oh, losing 100 million. That's not so bad. So you can always try to look on the bright side to losing money. Like, dear God, maybe one day I can lose 100,000. Then I won't have to worry about losing 10,000 anymore. It's like the reverse vacation idea. If you're getting depressed, best way to cure it, go on a vacation to somewhere really horrible, where your life is 10 times more miserable. Then when you come back, you're like, oh God, that reverse vacation cured me. I feel great now. I'm not in that hellhole anymore. I'm back to my at least normal life. It's great. Yes, another victory. Holy shit, we're back up to 2 viewers. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Sorry, I kind of got on a road there, sidetracked. Now, if anyone wants to hear, I went on a pretty wild adventure last night. Now, my adventure, I was thinking I want to go somewhere for my walk outside for exercise, get my 10,000 steps in. But I was trying to think, where can I walk to? It's not boring as hell. So I decided, hey, I'm going to walk to the calisthenics park, because I was watching Vegetable Police's channel, and he goes to calisthenics parks. So I was like, hey, I should see if my city has any calisthenics parks. I looked it up, and we got one that's about 25 to half an hour walk away. So I'm like, last night at around 11 o'clock, I'm like, I'm going to walk to the calisthenics park. And I decided to take a shortcut through a forest, alone, in the middle of the night, without a flashlight, where I could barely see where I'm even going. So it was quite an adventure. And every time I like to walk alone in the woods in the middle of the night, it kind of freaks me out a little bit, but then I'm like, hey, at least it's an adventure. I don't recommend it for anyone because it is dangerous. But it kind of gets my heart racing. I'm like, yeah, I feel more alive. And then when I got to the calisthenics park, I had a disaster. Tried to do a chin up, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm so heavy right now, I can't even do one. I could do half of one. I'm like, that's a new all-time low. I haven't been able to not do a chin up since I was like 16. So I really got to get back on that. And I know what it is, it's the weight. It's like I'm trying to lift it. I'm like, holy fuck, I weigh so much now. I weighed like 40 pounds more than the last time I tried to do a chin up. So that's definitely a lot of extra weight. Now some people are like, oh, to do chin ups you just need more muscle. I'm like, nah, pretty sure if I lose 40 pounds of fat, that'll help too. It's basically when you lift a 40-pound dumbbell, it's fucking heavy, right? You try to think, dear God, that's how much fat I have on me? It's nuts. Now the calisthenics park journey was a little bit interesting too. I've seen a lot of sketchy people, not a lot, 2 sketchy people. One guy looked like he was just like, I don't know if he was like meeting someone for like a back alley deal or something, but he looked really sketchy, where he was like hiding somewhere trying to wait. It's like, who's he waiting for? So I just crossed the street and didn't go near him, because I was like, even though he's a lot younger than me and like half my size, you never know if he has a gun or a knife or something, so I'm like, fuck this, I'm just gonna cross the street. And who else was the other? Oh yeah, and then when I got to the calisthenics park, there was some drunk guy like walking through the park. So he wasn't that much of an issue. I just stayed a little bit further away from him. Not that I discriminate against drunk people, but I say that as I'm drinking. No, then luckily I got almost my 10,000 steps in. I ran out of time before it hit midnight. So I did get the 10,000 steps, but some went over to today's. So even though I'm at 8,600, I think about 2,000 of these steps were from yesterday. Now, I was thinking I'd like to do some adventure filming, wandering through the woods alone, but I don't know if cameras really work the greatest at night anymore. I'll try experimenting with some night vision maybe. And there's not a whole lot to see. Normally when you wander around in the woods at night, alone, lost, can't see where you're going, you really don't see anything. It's just blackness everywhere. Wandering around for hours. Normally the main risk, sure there's a lot of smaller animals, could get attacked by raccoons. Oh yeah, we got coyotes, so I could get attacked by those. But as far as bears go, we don't have any bears in my region. So at least I'm lucky. I don't have to wonder, will I run into a bear? Well, there's probably a very small chance, like 1 in a million. So as dangerous as it sounds to walk around alone in the woods at night, it's actually not as bad where I live. Really, the main danger you would have would be humans. Because, yeah, you never know if you could run into like a murderer alone in the woods, right? And the weirdest part, people are like, oh, that woods is probably pretty safe where you are. Well, there actually has been people killed in the woods. There was a case where someone was shooting bows and arrows and hunting people that were walking through the woods. But thankfully they caught that guy, so I don't have to worry about getting shot by him with the arrow. Unless he got out of jail. Hope not. I better be very careful in that woods. Oh yeah, I should tell the story too, what happened during that time when the police were on the lookout for the person killing people with arrows in the woods. And they were telling people if you've seen anything suspicious to report it to the police. Because they're trying to find the murderer, right? So I can't remember where I was walking. I think I was walking downtown for some reason. And I got about maybe 10 houses from my house. All of a sudden a guy comes out of the house. And he's got a bow and arrow with him. And he's like carrying on his shoulder and a big bag full of arrows. And I look over at him. And he looks right over at me. I'm like, oh fuck, right? Here's a guy with bow and arrow. And then right away, I was thinking, oh shit, I should go tell the police, right? And then the guy looks at me like really angrily too. Like he sees that I'm thinking about telling the police and he's not happy. He's like all angry and giving me the evil eye. And then I start to realize, I'm like, wait a minute. This guy's like my neighbor. And even though I live like just a few minutes from the forest where someone was shot with an arrow, the odds of this guy being the murderer are probably pretty slim, right? At least I hope. So when I got home, I was like asking my family, should I tell the police? And then I was thinking, wait a minute, he's probably just a guy going to arrow practice, right? Like a guy who legitimately has an archery club membership and he's just going to shoot his bow. He has nothing to do with the actual murder that just occurred. Yeah, so I never did tell the police, and everyone's like, why? And I'm like, well, he's my neighbor, right? Like, I'm pretty sure we're going to hear if it was a murder, and if it turns out to be my neighbor, I'll be like, oh, fuck, then I should have turned him in. But no, it turned out they caught the murderer, and it wasn't my neighbor, so I was glad that I didn't report him to the police. And I was thinking, too, like, the murderer probably had, like, a bad bow and arrow, didn't have a whole case of arrows. Well, it was a lot of assumptions to make, but I was thinking it was probably a murderer wasn't like so nicely dressed, like driving a Lexus or whatever. It's probably some maniac homeless guy. He's not like some guy living in the neighborhood who's just shooting people for fun. God. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing for fun. Taking walks alone in the woods at night where people get shot to death with arrows. So what has everyone else been up to? Yeah, that's my excitement these days during lockdowns. Holy shit, we made it up to 7 likes. That's pretty epic. Well, Suki missed the battles against Hitler. Sadly, we defeated Hitler before she got here. Which may be for the best. She wouldn't take it so well to see Hitler die. We got him. He's done. Now, so I was thinking about the hero on my team that allowed me to beat that last boss. It was really when I put this hero in. This one here. Especially in the tank position. Like most people be like, oh, don't put him there or her there, whatever that person is. I'm not misgendering, I just legitimately don't know. I'd say maybe it's a female. She has female lips, right? But anyways, yeah, let's see. Not that there's a female gender lip, I guess. Anyways, yeah, so that's what I like about Clone Evolution, is when they have heroes like this, they make it a strategy. So I actually have to pick. It's not necessarily always going to be the same heroes that work best for the same teams. Sometimes Crime Fighter works better, other times this one does. Yeah, so let's try switching it up, see if maybe that strategy will work. Switching it up. Keep her guessing. Oh yeah, that was the other thing with the community housing program. One of the solutions for that, or problems that would arise, is everyone would want to live in the nicest city. So sort of like if you started that program in the US, everyone would want to live in the community housing programs in California, right on the beach, or maybe Florida, wherever. So you'd have to do a waiting list system. I know some people would be like, oh, that's garbage, but I don't know, it is what it is. You really couldn't just build giant condos and have everyone live in California, right? Unless they find some sort of solution to the water. If they don't have enough drinking water, well, it's going to be a pretty bad problem pretty quick. Now, as much as a waiting system would suck, it would help for the, the community recognition. So it would be more incentive to be more active member in your community, because say if you put in like 10 hours at the soup kitchen, they would give you fucking priority access for a better housing unit location. They would probably have to do it on a lottery system. I know, that's how our government does everything these days, which I'm surprised. Like now, when it came to legalizing weed in Canada, they didn't let anyone open a store and sell weed. They did a fucking lottery system. So you enter a lottery, and then you can win to fucking open a store. Which I think that is a pretty stupid system. So I hate even suggesting the idea. Who knows, maybe we could solve the water problem, and then you really could just put everyone living in California, have the rest of the fucking country empty. No, I think the solution to highways in the future, you know how California is kind of fucked because they have to keep making these giant wide highways? It seems stupidly complicated that it'll never work. But one ideal solution, if you can pull it off, like technically find some sort of solution to make it not stupid, would be to make highways underground. So you know how highways these days, they're always wider and wider and wider. In the future, we won't have any highways that are even above ground. So you'll go into a tunnel, and if the tunnel that you're on is too deep or too full, they'll just open up another layer deeper. So they'll be like, oh, we opened up a whole nother row of lanes deeper. Oh, that one filled up, we got to open up another tunnel deeper. I know in California it wouldn't make much sense because they have so much space and they have they could just keep making highways wider and wider, cheaper. But in Canada that makes a lot of sense because we got winter, and if we had all of our highways underground, it would be a lot less winter maintenance. Not to mention all the animals. Then animals wouldn't have to worry about getting run over anymore, because we literally wouldn't even have any highways above ground connecting cities. There'd literally just be giant passages of wilderness between each city. And then the ideal solution to that problem too would be you'd have a whole tunnel just for trucks. So you wouldn't merge like regular residential vehicles with business vehicles. That's dangerous as fuck. I don't know why we even do it today. And most people say, well, it's usually the small driver's vehicle's fault. Well, yeah, that's true, but still, they shouldn't be on the same road. It's like, there's a reason why we don't have fucking trains running next to fucking smart cars everywhere too, right? Because that'd be dangerous as fuck. It only happens in small little spots. We have giant gates to separate them. Now, that way too, whenever these vehicles and trucks are using their own highway and tunnel system, they can just have all their checkpoints in the tunnels. They don't even have to go on the roads and get mixed up with all the cars. Yeah, so that would solve the problems for housing. That would solve the problems for overpopulation with vehicle movement. I guess inner core cities, that might become an issue where you're like, okay, well, if there's these giant tunnels coming into the city, what's going to happen when everyone bottlenecks at the city? Probably will just be a giant parking garage. In the cities of the future, you really will just not be allowed to drive in them. Unless you have some sort of waiting list permit. And there's fucking like 10 billion people that all live in California. It's going to be pretty bad traffic. They'll just have to ban cars altogether. Yeah, that'd be weird. You drive to the big city like Toronto or something, and then you get there and you just park your car in like a fucking giant parking garage. Then you still have to fucking use public transit like everyone else. You know, reach the point where people are like, what's the fuck of even point of buying the car? You might as well just take a fucking train to get to the city. Alright, so I guess I'll wrap this up. I said I had no voice, started getting hammered, and the whiskey seemed to cure my voice pretty quick. So at least I know that in the future. If I run out of voice, at least I can have whiskey as a backup. I don't recommend it medically. Whiskey is very bad for you. It's definitely not medical advice. Alright, so let's get a wrap-up message. Let's check out the patrons. Hey, if anyone wants to help with the patrons list, starts at $1 a month. We got Suki, Jim, Ray, and Travis. I was going to make a band or a song called Jimmy Ray Travis. It turned out it already is a band and a song. So I was like, fuck, I can't name it that. So we're working on other shit. But it's in the process with LMMS. And I got some new cameras on the way. And hopefully we're going to get some outdoor vlogging gear that will even make a little bit extra. It's going to be a challenge. I might have to work it, but we'll see what I can do. Yeah, so thanks everyone with the patrons. I really appreciate it. I know in regular life, like today, I keep blowing money like crazy, trying to get projects completed, trying to be my own self-sufficient person, growing my own stuff in a greenhouse, food and weed and everything. And instead, I just fucking screwed everything up, busted up the greenhouse, nearly destroyed my neighbor's brand new car. So yeah, I'm not the greatest when it comes to money. So I really appreciate everyone that helps with patrons. Now when I do have money, I manage to find a way to fuck myself over royally with it. To each their own. I can't be successful at everything. Or anything. Right, no, we're getting very successful when it comes to the YouTube channel. I appreciate everyone signing up. We made it up to almost 1,000 subs. We were at 1,001 for a few days, but then it dropped back under. So we'll see what happens. I think we can get it back over 1,000 soon. if anyone's watching that hasn't subbed yet, you can be the 1,000th sub once again. I would do an award for the 1,000th sub person, but so far the list of that person keeps growing and growing and growing. And I don't have that many rewards. Alright, so let's check the affiliate links. Oh, I know what we forgot. Let's give a shout out to everyone who joined the chat today. I know everyone had to go because I kept going for hours and hours and everyone just quit watching by then. But let's give a shout out to everyone who was here. And for Shelly if she's watching later. Shelly made it first. No, I'm just kidding. She wasn't here. No, it's like Shelly's like, man, made it first. I wasn't even there. Alright, Kaminsky, he made it in first. But he's gone now. Unless someone else. Oh yeah, one person's still watching. So it could be someone from this list. Alright, Kaminsky, or it's just me. And then Kim Jog Midway. Yes, I haven't heard from Kim in a while, so welcome back, Kim. I seen your sister on the news. Boy, is she a babe. Alright, so Kaminsky. No, I really mean Kim Jong-il's real sister. Man. Hopefully she's at least an adult. I think she is. Alright, so Marco Coolness. Welcome back to the chat. Kim Jong. Oh yeah, Kaminsky. I'm reading it backwards. Why do I have to always do everything in reverse? Oh, Dan. Dan made it to the chat. Shit, man. I didn't even see you there, Dan. Dear God. How drunk am I? That's the one thing I love about being drunk a little, is you can always blame all your problems on it. You're like, oh, I'm not just a fucking blind as a bat fucking fat slob. It's the booze's fault. Right, so Dan, Kim Jong, Marco, and Top Shelf. Yes, Top Shelf was in there too. Thanks again, Top Shelf. Yeah, hey, Top Shelf had a good idea. He's like, stop the show, go watch Mandalorian, 2 episodes, or 2 seasons. Yeah, it's tempting. It's nice to know that if we do get locked down at any time, I don't have to worry about being completely bored when it comes to new shows and entertainment, because I don't watch anything. So I'll have like the last 10 years of television to watch. Now I think really realistically the last TV show that I used to watch like religiously, like never missing an episode, was I think Star Trek Voyager or Stargate SG. Yeah, the Stargate series, I was watching that. So whichever one lasted longer. I'm pretty sure Stargate lasted a little bit longer, didn't it? Voyager was over, and then they went to the new Star Treks. I didn't really like those ones. So I just switched to watching Stargate, and I liked SG-1. I liked a little bit of Atlantis, but it was starting to get a bit weird. And then after Atlantis, yeah, then it went really downhill. I heard Stargate has a chance of coming back. I can't wait. I hope it does. Even if it sucks, I'll still watch that one. Because that's one of those shows I'm thinking, even if they butcher Star Trek and it really sucks balls, and not in a good way, then I'll still watch it, because I really haven't watched anything, and I kind of should watch something. I tried to give a few shows a try here and there, but I don't know, I just compare it to making content, and it's not as fun. So I'm like, what am I really going to do? Vegetate and not have as much fun? Or just go create content? God, this battle's going to be tough, man. It's a double healer thing again. I got to take out one of these Robins if I stand a chance. Alright, so let's give a big round of applause to everyone who was in the chat. Especially Kim. Welcome back, Kim. Not right there. Not right there. Alright, so let's go. Let's go. Where are we going? Westward, ho. Let's try the affiliate links. Alright, if anyone wants to help out with my affiliate links, we got Patreon, Society 6. Finishing quick is my specialty. It's a saying it comes on t-shirts and bed sheets, both popular with the ladies. Geez, my forehead veins are still bulging from being really mad today. That's pretty epic. Alright, so Society 6 and Hideout TV pays you to watch videos. Swagbucks pays you to shop online. GameKit pays you to try games. Free Bitcoin is a wallet system for cryptocurrencies. Also includes casinos, so make sure you always listen to your regional laws, either for age or for cryptocurrencies in general or for all the other offers. All of them have different ages, so make sure you check it out. Alright, so click show more information button if you want all these offers and more, including the virtual mate, the one above. It's a sex machine for adults and men only. But if ladies need a sex machine, they know who to call. Just kidding. No, I get a good laugh out of that one. Everyone's like, boy, it's so repetitive. And I'm like, well, it's the one thing that always gives me a good chuckle. Alright, sorry, I'm just starting the battle again. I can't stop playing, even though we're on a different screen. I gotta keep playing the game. Alright, so let's see, the virtual mate and the click show more information. Oh yeah, my website's in the links below as well. And let's go to the fire screen. Fire screen. Fire. Alright, we'll dig deep into the item bag and see what we find. Hopefully it's not sweaty. Nothing worse than getting items out of a sweaty bag. Come on. Where the fuck is the mouse? Damn yo. No, sometimes I go to make fun of different accents and I'm like, gotta remember, it's like I can only make fun of a very small list. It's like I think I make fun of German ones. No one minds that. I can make fun of maybe Irish, but that might be pushing it too far. The Australian accent, that's one I like to make fun of. Gotta be careful these days. It's a small list. Alright, so yeah, the fire screen, that's what I was looking for. Chill on the insults for a while. Alright, so let's go. Alright, what do we got? I don't know if I have any Easter items in here. I kept looking to see if I had any Easter items I saved from last Easter. Was candy Easter? No, that's Halloween. If anyone remembers what the Easter items from last year were, let me know. We'll go with some of the items I can find in our item bag from recently. Let's see, what do we got? Let's go with these crystals. If you happen to get any purple crystal in your vaporizer, then give the show a dislike. Vaporizing crystal sucks, unless it's THC crystal. Purple crystal sucks. Alright, anyways, and if that doesn't happen, if you give the show a like, really appreciate it. Just make sure, never buy the products from my sponsor.
Because it will ruin your life. Bye for now, everyone. See you later.
Have a good week, and I hope everyone has good luck in the game. Yeah, and congratulations to whoever won the Hunger Games. I'll try to fucking remember to bet next time. Son of a bitch. No, I think I played the game 3 or 4 times today. I was like, am I forgetting anything? Am I? They can't put a fucking little timer there. Alright, see you later, everyone. Bye for now. See ya. Yeah, I like that comment by Top Shelf. I really hope that they're coming out with a blockchain for streaming. That'd be sweet. We can find some sort of live stream anything you want. That'd be sick. Imagine that. You can just throw on like copyrighted music, stream till the cows come home. Like, go fuck yourself, copyright owners. No, that isn't even the streaming company's fault. Then I bet you the law companies will get involved, like the big movies. But will they really be able to sue each person individually? Maybe. Hopefully we shouldn't have to preach civil disobedience. We can just abolish the copyright system. Hopefully within our lifetimes. Or if not abolish it completely, at least modify it substantially. Put an end to all this fucking copyright nonsense. Especially for medications. We need the copyrights for medications to end. So any country can just make their own and not have to worry about paying royalties. Let's put an end to Big Pharma. Alright, good luck everyone. Have a good night. See ya.